I stood at the door of my ex-husband's house, music shaking the walls, laughter spilling into the night. He had called it his new beginning party. Balloons floated, lights sparkled. His friends clapped when I walked in, but their smiles froze when they saw who was standing beside me. My ex-husband, Mark, dropped his glass. His face turned white. His mouth opened, but no sound came out, because the person I brought with me was the one man Mark never wanted to see again. And in that moment, I knew his perfect night was about to burn. Before I tell you what happened next, before I tell you why Mark looked like he'd seen a ghost, pause right here. If you like stories that hit hard, stories that make your heart race and your jaw drop, stay with me. Like, watch, and subscribe, because what comes next changed my life forever. My name is Emily Carter. I am a mother of one. My daughter's name is Lily. She is 8 years old. She loves pancakes, purple socks, and sleeping with the light on. She is the reason I breathe. She is the reason I survived. I grew up in a quiet town in Ohio. My parents were simple people. My dad fixed cars. My mom worked nights at a hospital. They taught me to trust people. They taught me that love fixes things. I believed them. I met Mark when I was 24. He had a big smile and soft words. He promised safety. He promised forever. He promised I would never cry alone. I married him. At first, life felt warm. We laughed on the couch. We shared fries in the car. We planned trips we never took. When Lily was born, Mark cried and said, "I will protect you both." That was a lie. The first crack came quietly. Mark started coming home late. His phone stayed locked. His hugs felt rushed. When I asked questions, he smiled and said I was too sensitive. Then came the night I found the messages. I remember my hands shaking as I scrolled. Hearts. Secrets. Plans. Another woman. Her name was Rachel. She called him my future. When I confronted Mark, he didn't apologize. He laughed. He said, "You should have known. You're boring now." That night broke something inside me. The divorce was fast and cruel. Mark hired a sharp lawyer. I couldn't afford one like that. He told the court I was unstable. He said I was angry. He said I was unfit. I lost more than I should have. I moved into a small apartment with thin walls. Lily slept in my bed because she was scared. I worked 2 jobs. I smiled for my child and cried in the shower. Then things got worse. One evening, police knocked on my door. They said my name like it tasted bad. They said Mark had filed a report. He said I had stolen money from a joint account. He said I had forged his name. None of it was true. But lies can wear uniforms. I spent 3 nights in jail before a judge released me. 3 nights on a cold bench. 3 nights thinking my daughter would forget my face. When I got out, Mark was already celebrating. He had moved Rachel into our old house. He posted photos online. Smiling. Drinking. Winning. I wanted to disappear. But then something unexpected happened. A letter arrived. It was from Daniel Brooks. Daniel was Mark's old business partner. Years ago, Mark had pushed him out. Said Daniel was greedy. Said Daniel was dangerous. The letter said, "Emily, I know the truth. And I think you should too." We met at a quiet cafe. Daniel looked tired. His eyes held storms. He told me Mark had built his success on lies. Fake accounts. Hidden money. Stolen contracts. Daniel had proof. He had tried to go to the police once, but Mark was faster. Smarter. Protected. Until now. Daniel said, "He's throwing a party next Friday. A new beginning. He thinks he's untouchable." He looked at me and said, "Let's remind him he's not." I didn't answer right away. My heart pounded. My hands shook. Then Mark sent me an invitation. It was gold and shiny. His words were sharp and sweet. "Come see how happy I am," it said. No hard feelings. That was when I decided. Back to the night of the party. I walked in with Daniel beside me. The room went silent. Mark's friends stared. Rachel's smile fell off her face. Mark whispered my name like a curse. I smiled. But before I could say a word, Before Daniel could step forward, red and blue lights flashed through the windows. The music cut off. Someone screamed. Police officers pushed through the crowd. One of them looked straight at Mark and said, "Sir, you are under arrest." Mark turned to me, eyes wide with fear. The room exploded into noise. People shouted. Glass broke. Rachel screamed Mark's name and tried to run to him, but an officer blocked her path. The music system fell silent, yet my ears rang like it was still playing. Mark froze. His hands trembled as the officers grabbed his arms. "This is a mistake," he yelled. "Emily did this. She's crazy." All eyes turned to me. I stood still. My heart was racing, but my face stayed calm. For the first time in years, I was not the one shaking. Daniel stepped forward. He handed a thick folder to the police. Papers spilled out. Bank records. Emails. Contracts with fake names. One officer nodded slowly as he flipped through them. "Sir," he said to Mark, "we've been watching you for months." Mark's sneeze gave way. He looked smaller.
Weak.
Like a balloon with no air. Rachel cried. She held his arm and begged them to stop.
"He didn't mean it," she said.
He was just trying to start fresh. A new beginning. Those words hit me like a slap. They dragged Mark past me. As he passed, he leaned close and hissed, "You think you won? This isn't over." The door slammed shut behind him. Silence followed. Heavy. Thick. People avoided my eyes. Some whispered my name. Some looked scared. Some looked ashamed. I took a deep breath and walked out. Outside, the night air felt cold and clean. Daniel stood beside me. "You okay?" he asked. I nodded. "I think so." But I was wrong. The next morning, my phone wouldn't stop ringing. News sites. Social media. Messages from strangers. Mark's arrest was everywhere. His photo in handcuffs. Headlines screaming fraud, theft, betrayal. And my name was there too. Ex-wife exposes husband. One headline read. Rachel posted online calling me evil. Mark's friends sent threats. Some blamed me for ruining his life. I turned off my phone. I focused on Lily. She asked why people were talking about her dad. I told her grown-ups make bad choices. I told her she was safe. But I was scared. A week later, Mark was released on bail. That night, someone banged on my door.
Hard.
I peeked through the hole and saw him.
Mark.
My heart dropped. I didn't open the door. I called the police. By the time they arrived, he was gone. The next day, my car tires were slashed. Then my mailbox was smashed. Then a letter arrived with no return address. It said, "You started a war." I couldn't sleep. Every sound made me jump. Lily started having nightmares again. Daniel helped where he could. He paid for a security camera. He checked on us. Sometimes he just listened. Slowly, something else grew. Trust. One afternoon, Daniel told me something that made my blood run cold. "Emily," he said, "Mark isn't just facing fraud charges. There's more." He explained that Mark had been moving money through fake charities. One of them had Lily's name on it. My legs felt weak. "He used our daughter?" I whispered. Daniel nodded. "That's why the charges will be heavier. Federal." That night, I cried until my chest hurt. Court came faster than I expected. I sat in the courtroom, holding Lily's drawing in my bag like armor. Mark sat across the room. His eyes were empty, cold. Rachel wasn't there. Witness after witness spoke. Experts explained the numbers. Daniel testified. He told the truth calmly. Then Mark's lawyer stood.
He pointed at me.
He said I was bitter. He said I planned everything. He said I used Daniel. My name felt dirty in his mouth. When it was my turn, my legs shook as I stood. I spoke slowly. I spoke clearly. I told them about the lies, the jail, the fear, my daughter. The judge listened. Days later, the verdict came.
Guilty.
Mark was sentenced to prison. Rachel disappeared. I thought it was over. I was wrong. 2 months into his sentence, I got another letter. This one had a prison stamp. It was from Mark. He wrote, "You took everything from me. I will take something from you. The same week, Lily didn't come home from school. The office said someone picked her up early. They said he showed papers. My heart stopped. I dropped the phone. I screamed her name. I ran. I don't remember how I got to the school. I only remember running. My chest burned. My legs felt like they would snap. Every terrible thought hit me at once. Mark took her. The school office was chaos. Phones ringing. Papers everywhere. A woman kept saying, "I'm so sorry," again and again. They showed me the papers. They were fake. Whoever picked Lily up had used a forged court order. The name at the bottom made my hands go numb. Mark Carter. I screamed. The police came fast. Too fast. That meant it was bad. They asked questions. What clothes was Lily wearing? Did she know any safe words? Did Mark have anyone helping him? I couldn't breathe. Daniel arrived. He wrapped his arms around me when my knees gave out. I cried into his jacket like a child. "She's strong," he said softly. "She's smart. We'll find her." But fear is louder than hope. Hours passed. Then my phone buzzed. A blocked number. I answered with shaking hands. Mark's voice filled my ear.
Calm.
Smooth.
Proud.
"You always were slow, Emily," he said. "I told you this wasn't over." "Where is she?" I screamed. "If you touch her." "She's fine," he cut in. "For now." I begged.
I didn't care how small I sounded.
I offered money. Silence. Anything. He laughed. "You took my life," he said. "Now feel my pain." The call ended. Police traced the signal. An old warehouse near the river. We drove there with sirens screaming. Every second felt like a year. They broke down the door. Inside, it was empty. Just a purple sock on the floor. Lily's sock. I collapsed. That night, I didn't sleep. I didn't sit. I didn't stop shaking. The police searched everywhere. Cameras.
Cars. Phones.
Nothing. Then Daniel remembered something. Mark's old storage unit. We rushed there. The door was open. Inside, Lily sat on a chair.
Tied. Crying. Alive.
I ran to her and held her so tight she squeaked. "Mommy," she whispered. "I knew you'd come." Mark wasn't there. He had left a note. One more move. Mark was caught 2 days later trying to cross state lines. The charges stacked up.
Kidnapping. Threats. Forgery.
This time, there was no bail. The judge called him a danger. Mark was sent away for a very long time. I thought the nightmare was done. But trauma doesn't leave when danger does. Lily stopped sleeping alone. She flinched at loud sounds. I quit my job to stay close. Daniel stayed too. Slowly, carefully, he became part of our world. He helped with homework. He cooked dinner badly but tried. He never pushed. One night, Lily asked, "Is Daniel staying forever?" I smiled through tears. "If he wants to." Life tried to heal. Then the lawsuit came. Mark sued me from prison. He claimed I planned everything. That I ruined him on purpose. That I stole his future. It was insane. But it meant court again. More lawyers. More lies. On the last day, something unexpected happened. Rachel walked in. She looked thin. Broken.
She asked to speak.
The room held its breath. She told everything. How Mark planned the fake charges. How he set me up. How he bragged about hurting me. How he said taking Lily would finish the job. The judge listened. The case was dismissed. Mark was given more time. Outside the courtroom, reporters swarmed. Someone shouted, "Do you forgive him?" I said nothing. Because forgiveness is not always the end. Weeks later, Daniel proposed. Simple. Quiet. Honest. I said yes. But on the night we celebrated at home, there was a knock. A package at the door. No name. Inside was a prison photo of Mark. On the back, written in red, "You may have won, but this isn't my end." I dropped the photo like it was burning my hand. Daniel grabbed it first. His jaw tightened as he read the words on the back. "He can't touch us anymore," he said, but his voice was not fully sure. Neither was I. That night, I didn't sleep. Every shadow looked like danger. Every sound felt too loud. Lily slept between us, her small hand holding mine like a rope, keeping me alive. The next morning, Daniel made a call. He spoke to a lawyer. Then another. Then the police. We learned something that made my stomach twist. Mark had friends inside. Not good friends. Not loyal friends. But men who liked favors. Men who liked money. One name kept coming up. Jason Miller. Jason had grown up with Mark. They had been close once. Jason was out of prison now.
No job.
No home. Nothing to lose. The police said, "Be careful." That word felt too small. A week later, my house was broken into. Nothing was stolen. Nothing except Lily's old baby bracelet from the drawer. I sat on the floor and shook. This wasn't about money.
It was about fear.
Daniel wanted us to leave the state. Start fresh. New names. New town.
Part of me wanted that.
But another part of me was tired of running. I said, "No. This ends here." The next court hearing came. This one was for Mark's new charges. I was called to speak again. Before the hearing, Rachel asked to see me. We met in a small room.
She cried.
She said she was sorry. She said Mark scared her too. She said Jason had visited her once, asking questions about me. That was all I needed to hear. The day of the hearing, the courtroom was full. Mark appeared on screen from prison. His eyes locked onto mine. He smiled. I felt sick. Then the judge spoke. New evidence. New witnesses. New crimes. Mark shouted. He cursed. He blamed me. The judge added more years to his sentence. A lot more. As Mark was taken away, he screamed my name. His voice cracked with hate. I didn't look away. Outside the courthouse, Jason Miller was waiting. I knew it the second I saw him. His eyes were empty. His smile wrong. He walked past me and whispered, "Soon." The police grabbed him before I could react. He had a weapon, and Lily's bracelet in his pocket. That night, I held my daughter and cried harder than I ever had. Jason was arrested. He confessed. Mark had ordered everything. This time, the system listened. This time, Mark lost all power. We entered witness protection for a while. Quiet days. Safe nights. Daniel became my husband. Lily laughed again. Years passed. One afternoon, I received one last letter from prison.
Different handwriting.
It said, "He will never hurt you again." Mark had died inside. Heart attack. I sat down and breathed for the first time in years. But as I closed my eyes, my phone buzzed. An unknown number. A message with no words. Just a photo of Mark's grave and fresh flowers on it. I stared at the photo until my screen went dark. Fresh flowers. Someone had been there. For a long time, fear had ruled my life. It told me when to sleep, when to breathe, when to run. But in that moment, something inside me shifted. Fear was tired, and so was I. Daniel wanted to call the police. He wanted answers. Names. Cameras. Protection. I shook my head. "No," I said softly. "This ends today." The next morning, I drove alone to the cemetery. The sky was gray. Quiet. Honest. Mark's grave was simple. No love carved into the stone. Just a name and dates that felt too small for all the damage he caused. The flowers were white. I stood there for a long time. "I forgive you," I said out loud. Not for him. For me. I walked away without looking back. That night, we slept peacefully. No knocks. No shadows. No threats. Weeks passed. Then months. Nothing happened. Life became normal in a way I once thought was impossible. Lily grew taller. Braver. She stopped sleeping with the light on. She laughed loud again. Daniel and I built something real.
Slow. Safe. Kind.
Years later, Lily stood on a school stage and gave a speech about strength. She looked at me and smiled. I cried. Because I won. Not by revenge, but by surviving. By protecting my child. By choosing love over fear. Mark wanted to break me. Instead, He made me unbreakable, and that was my true new beginning.